How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Cháirez, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
What's up, Will?
What up? What up?
Welcome, everybody, to Story of the Fight. My name's Manuel. That's my boy, Will. This is where we cover all things combat sports. Today, we're going to be covering UFC Fight Night Mexico City. Hey, Mexico. Let's go. But before we do, Will, I want to remind everybody, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If this is your first time joining us, then I promise I don't always start off with that accent, but welcome. If you don't like watching and you like listening, Will, you got other ways, right?
Yeah, if you just want to listen, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Podcasts, pretty much anywhere podcasts are found. If you want to hit us up on social media, follow us. It's just Story of the Fight on everything. Go to storyofthefight.com. It'll list it all. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, Twitch, pretty much everywhere. At Story of the Fight. Click through, follow. Makes it easy. Storyofthefight.com.
Makes it easy. Yeah, I mean, it can't get any easier, you know. Will, I was expecting you, though, when I'm like, hey, what's up, Will? For you to be like, my name's Will. You know, just like real quick.
Whoa.
Hey, shout out Evie, by the way. Welcome, Evie, already joining us. She's saying, woo, let's go. And she's saying, let's go, because we had a main event with my boy, Brandon Moreno, dude. You know, I love this guy.
Flyweight main event, dude. Flyweight main event, come on.
Yeah, when's the last time we saw Brandon Moreno, actually, now that I think about it?
It's been a while. Was it the Albazi fight?
Yeah,
Albazi.
We hadn't seen him. Well, wasn't that long ago. November 2024. But still, it feels like it was a long time ago since I had seen Brandon Moreno. He's over with Saif Saud, right? Falling out of Fortis MMA in Dallas now. His style's changed up a little bit ever since we've last seen. Remember when he used to do the thing, you know, at the waist where his hands kind of come up, and he like fights like that? We don't really see that anymore, very much anymore.
No. Now we see long leaping overhand rights that he ends up over his feet on, and we see that too often. That was like one of the biggest problems with the Royval fight, I thought. And they talked about how much he worked on his defense before this fight, and I did see that. He was a lot more defensively responsible in this fight, I thought.
Yeah.
Like you said, he wasn't doing this anymore, which is cool, but not super great as far as like, you know, being a good fighting style. But I mean, it got him a belt. But yeah, he's a lot more refined, a lot more, I guess, like technical, you know, with his defense, I would say.
Yes.
But I think, the offense, I don't know. The offense has kind of bummed me out a little bit from him lately. Mainly just that overhand right, I guess. Everything else is still fine, but that overhand right sometimes is a bit much. And I thought this picture's perfect. I mean, he landed it immediately in this fight against Erceg. And I guess if you look at Erceg's last couple fights, you might think, okay, that overhand right is definitely there for him because he gets hit by it a lot. So maybe it's fine to just be throwing wild overhands like this. And
they
he
kept on catching
him in the first round.
They kept on catching him.
But then I think he fell in love with it because for the rest of the fight, he wasn't catching him nearly as much as he was in the first half of that fight. Blunderbub says I really thought this was going to pop off in the later rounds, but it kind of cooled off.
So did I.
Yeah, and I think part of that is because, look, I texted you we normally don't text during the fights, but this one I did text you. I really, really liked Erceg. Yeah, I said I don't think Erceg is going to get this win, but I do really like some of the reads he's making in this. Because, you know, hey, shout out Leo Cooper, MMA. Needed more output from Erceg. That was the main problem, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. Thank you for joining. I agree because in that first round, Moreno's throwing that overhand right. You know, who was it? Was it Kai France that knocked out Erceg with that overhand? It was they call it a cross, but it was kind of an overhand, at least on Tapology. But so he's open for that, and Moreno was landing it immediately, right? But part of the disguise for that overhand is to like lean forward, and Moreno was leaning forward heavy, and so Erceg, 4 minutes into that first round, he starts throwing uppercuts. He's throwing front kicks up the middle. He's throwing front kicks to the body. I thought that was it took him like not even a full round to start using weapons that are gonna work against that type of stance. And I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Like Leo said, he didn't really capitalize on it as the fight continued. He kind of did in the second and third, I guess.
But the thing too is like he he was throwing he would throw a jab, right?
Mm-hmm.
Moreno would slip in, come in with that overhand right, and catch him.
Yeah,
And
over and over.
So on repeat, rinse and repeat, right? And so if you're Erceg, you're like, man. In the beginning, at least I can understand how it's like, hey, let me try to figure this out. Like you said, he started trying to mix it up, but it was a lot of single shots, shots, right? And so Moreno did a great job, capitalized off that. As the rounds continued going on, I want to say it was the third round when Erceg really started picking up on the timing.
That was a good round.
Catching Moreno a lot more, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even then, I was like, okay, let's start piecing together some combos now, Erceg, right?
Yeah.
It didn't really start throwing too many heavy combos.
Well, what's crazy, Erceg outstruck him in every single round of this fight, which is crazy. But like Blunderbub says, he made that knee read in the second or third, and then he never went back to it. I was bummed. And yes, one thing that Moreno throws him, you can even see it in this picture, he throws himself so far forward over his lead leg to throw this overhand right. And there was a couple times Erceg got out of the way of it, and Moreno's like completely off balance. But then most of the time he was there for it. So he was eating it. But sometimes he would slip it, shoulder into him, and then as they're standing back up to posture, he throws that knee up the middle. And he did that. He landed that in the second round. And I was like, oh, that's a great read. And then he started feinting that front kick because he would throw the front kick, and Moreno's answer to the front kick would be to lean back, right? Lean out of the way. And then he'd come right. Moreno has a rhythm to him. You know, the way kind of Moreno moves. If he's out of range, he'll start like waddling back into range, or like he'll lean back and he's back. And he does that. Like he has very specific movements that he does. And that front kick up the middle, which was perfect because Moreno was leaning over so much, his answer was to lean back and then reset. And so he'd throw that front kick, or he'd feint it and just kind of lift his knee like he's going to throw it. Moreno would lean back, and as he's coming back in, he'd throw the 1-2. Like he's literally creating a car crash and baiting Moreno to slip, come back in right onto a 1-2. And reads like that were working for him up until, I would say, the end of the third round, and then it kind of just disappeared. I thought the second and third round
too, when Moreno gets caught with a leg kick, and especially if it's a heavy leg kick, he'll like hip thrust forward and like make it a point that he didn't move his leg, right? So there's 2 times that I can remember Erceg lands a heavy leg kick, Moreno like hip thrust forward, kind of like to say like try it again, or I don't know what it is. But he got caught up top.
Oh yeah,
Erceg just throwing a quick shot. It's like Moreno, like so. To your point, just things like that, where he's like very rhythmic, and in some cases predictable on how he's going to react to certain things, made it easier for Erceg in the third round to make some of those reads.
Yeah, and I thought Erceg had a good second round and a good third round.
There's a knee right
there. Kind of looks like our boy Nick Griswold in that picture, huh?
He does actually.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Shout out Nick. But yeah, I thought the second and third rounds, I was like, man, Erceg's so impressive making these reads and real time making adjustments and capitalizing on them and setting traps. But then he just kind of didn't follow through with it. And I don't know if you heard, I think it was after the third round. It might have been after the fourth round. I think it was after the fourth round. Erceg's corner told him, hey, it's very clear that Brandon's listening to us. So from here on out, if I call for body work, go to the head. And if I call for head work, go to the body. And I was like, holy shit, dude. Very cool. But also, how difficult is that to pull off that adjustment?
In the middle of a fight? Like, I know to us, it sounds easy right now.
Yeah.
To us sitting here, it sounds easy right now. Yeah. But
and so I asked Charles Johnson, because he was saying, he was like, man, corner work from both guys really cool going into this round. And I was like, dude, so he called for this. That sounds very simple, but like, at this point of a fight, how difficult is that? And he's like, very difficult, or some shit like that. Or no, I think I was like, is that difficult? I was like, it sounds simple, but is that difficult going in like this far into a fight? And he was like, hell yeah. So,
dude,
very cool, but and maybe that's too much.
Chatting it up with Charles Johnson. You haven't invited him onto the podcast yet?
I'm trying to get him on, dude. Trying to get him on.
Just Charles Johnson, if you're watching right now, just hop on the pod, man.
Hop on the pod, man. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, also shout out Austin. Thanks for joining. But yeah, I thought Moreno showed that a true champion I thought he lost a middle round there, probably the third round. Genevieve says that sounds so hard to do in any fight. Yeah.
True.
And I don't know if maybe that's what it is. Maybe he got too in his head in those, because you would think. I thought he won the third round.
Erceg? I thought he won
cracked
third
him
as well.
hard. He cracked him hard in the second round with that straight right. But I think Moreno worked enough to win that round. And in the third round, I thought Erceg took it, and I was like, oh, if you lose the first two and you win the third as you enter championship rounds, you're in a decent spot here. Yeah, momentum shift. And I'm wondering if he's too technical, or he's too in his own head about these types of things, making reads, setting traps, things like that, and then his corner's like, hey, we're shaking this up now. If mentally,
he's like, oh no.
Did that kill his momentum? Is he overthinking things now? You know what I mean? Or is Moreno just, and who knows, trying to get inside the mind of a fighter is stupid, right? It's pointless mid-fight, but especially from us, right? But I thought Moreno really showed, maybe that's part of it, but Moreno really showed that like championship experience, former champion, former multiple time champion, coming in and taking the fourth and fifth back. Yeah, Moreno's just fucking sick, dude. I love, what Moreno does? That multiple punch combination, and then he stutter steps and then throws his lead leg to the body, or lead leg to the legs, and he was digging in. And then on the third time
when he does that one and he goes to the thigh specifically,
at like a downward angle.
Oh my god, it looks so painful, and he puts his entire body into it, dude.
He did it 3 times in a row. Twice landed, and then the third time Moreno just scoots back and checks it, or Erceg scoots back and checks it, and Moreno's like, okay, I won't do that again.
We're good.
But again, another adjustment by Erceg.
Yeah.
You're not going to throw the combo 3 times in a row.
I'm sure that the pressure that Moreno was putting on, that same third round,
oh yeah,
where you and I said, hey, that was a really good round for Erceg, Moreno did a very good job of controlling the center of the octagon.
The whole fight.
And dictating where the fight was going to take place. The third round, Erceg did a way better job with his lateral movement, moved around the edges of the octagon. Moreno was chasing a little bit more. You even saw at the end of the round, he was frustrated because the crowd was booing, and he like shrugged his shoulders. And I'm like, I'm trying, right? So I just wonder how much of that constant pressure from Moreno also swayed the judges.
Yeah, and you know what I like from Moreno is he'll throw a long combination to get you to back up, right? And if you circle out on the weak side, he ends up, you don't necessarily matador him, but you kind of do a little bit, right? You circle out and he's running in a straight line attacking you, but instead of following you around the perimeter of the octagon, he literally will walk backwards and basically jog backwards to get back to the center and cut you off again. Like he did it multiple times in this fight where he would get matadored a little bit, Erceg would escape, and Moreno's literally jogging back to the center of the cage to and not in a circular motion, literally just cut right through it. And that's impressive,
Hey, by the way, shout out Brian, man. He is my favorite of your brothers, Will.
Damn, dude. No love for Mike.
Yeah. My favorite of your brothers, dude. Good dude.
But yeah, shout out Brian. Thanks for joining live. But yeah, I thought Moreno, it was a decent fight. I did think it was going to pop off a little bit more towards the end. I don't know if maybe things slowed down because they're at Mexico City, right? The elevation's crazy. So maybe Erceg was also like, oh, fuck, after that third round. He's like, I'm a little tired here. But, Moreno, that's 2 wins in a row now since losing that fight to
3 losses in a row for Erceg.
Yeah, man. Can we give Erceg a drop in competition, please? Jesus Christ. They really threw him to the wolves.
No.
People were complaining about him getting a title shot. Then he really showed out in that title shot against Pantoja, and everyone's like, oh, shit, maybe he is legit. And then he's fought killers since then.
Lost Pantoja, lost to Kaikar France, lost to Brandon Moreno.
Yeah, so it's like, hey, man, can we drop him just a little bit? Because I like the guy. I don't want him to be 0-4.
Astro Boy?
Oh, God, dude, that fight would be sick.
Get out of here.
Sick fight. But honestly, drop it a little further than that, too, please. I don't want to see him go 0-4 and then they cut him or some shit,
They won't cut him, dude. I think that the UFC thinks very highly of him, which is why they continue giving him fights like they are giving him. Look at everybody they're giving him. Even after he lost Pantoja?
True.
No.
Give him Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott. I do too, but he's ranked 11. He needs to defend that spot. When's the last time Tim Elliott fought?
I don't know. All right. Hey, let's move on, bro. We've been on this main event for almost 20 minutes, right? Not that it wasn't a good main event, but we got a decent amount of fights to talk about.
Yeah.
We also had the co-main event. We had Manuel Torres versus Drew Dober coming in with that jawline. We know he has the best jawline in the business. Look at that slick ass hair, dude. But even with
what's up with your
draw
boy's
line,
teeth in the background, dude?
Whose?
Looking like a hockey player out there.
Holy smokes!
Probably just a shadow, but god damn, dude.
Dude, I didn't even notice that. Rough, dude. Rough.
Yeah.
And then look at his shadow on his shirt. Also looks like Torres is giving Dober a kiss on the forehead. That's adorable.
Damn. And then he gave him a kiss on the forehead, huh?
No, dude. Did he ever, man? He absolutely rocked him right on the jaw.
This fight pissed me off, bro. I'm not gonna lie. This fight pissed me off, bro. At this point, dude, me and you both, we don't like to rag on refs too much, but Mike Beltran, I think, is consistently, at least as of late, he's been not great as of late. And this one pissed me off, dude. Maybe it's because Drew Dober's my boy.
I love Drew Dober too. It hurt. That's why I text you. That's exactly. Again, we don't normally text on fight night. We don't, because we want to save it for the pod, right?
Yeah.
But as soon as I saw those 15 unanswered shots, right, that Drew Dober ate, 15 unanswered, and Beltran thinks about it, he's about to hop in, and then he steps back again, and he lets him eat like another 5 shots, and he steps in. I was like, "Oh, what is going on?"
Yeah, so basically, what happened in the fight? Drew Dober, obviously, he's a pressure fighter. Torres is a long guy.
Oh, so yeah, we should probably let him know how we got there, huh?
Yeah, so Dober wants to probably smother him, and he does that. He smothers him up against the fence, eats this high kick on the way in, but effectively does get him back to the fence, but then backs off a little bit, and as Torres is coming back in, he switches stances. They're open now. Bam, 1-2 down the pipe. The right hand just slots right through because they're open stance, catches him on the chin, drops him. He goes in for the single leg and just legit like 15 hammer fists to the side of the head while he's hanging onto this ankle. And then Mike Beltran stops it. And then Drew Dober gets up and they're celebrating. And then it cuts to the camera showing the wide angle, the whole octagon. And Drew Dober's like ready to go. And he's like walking towards Torres.
I want to say he was ready.
Keep going. Look at the next picture, bro.
I wouldn't say he was ready. I think that
bro, Drew Dober is always ready, dude. if Drew Dober's on his feet, bro, he is ready.
He's game.
He can be rocked. He's game, dude.
He's game.
How many times have we seen him in a slugfest after getting
ready?
Dropped? Dude, Drew Dober's always ready.
He's
always ready. He does, dude. Come on. How many times have we seen him in a slugfest where he gets cracked and then he comes back? He's got the crimson chin, dude. But this shit pisses me off, dude. This is worse than a knockout, in my opinion. When he's literally marching forward, like, let's fucking go. Why is this dude walking around? And there's people in the cage, and they stop. They tell him it's over. And he's like, "What?" He's like, "What do you mean it's over? Like, what the?" Like, he literally lost the last 30 seconds of his life. So, like, that type of shit pisses me off because, like, and Blunderbutt makes a good point. The way he was holding onto the ankle probably made Beltran think he's still good, but the rule is, and these refs drill this. I know they work hard at this. I know they put in a ton of work. Exactly. It's not, is he unconscious or not? Is he defending himself intelligently? Holding on to an ankle and not blocking the shots and dealing with the immediate threat is not intelligently defending yourself. And that is the issue. Is the issue. Even Dober this morning was like, I was watching, he was doing an Instagram live and I was on there and he's like, yeah, I feel fine. I mean, I didn't go out. Like, I wish they would have probably stopped it sooner. It's like, how many times do you hear that? That's how you know it's bad. If the fighter's like, no, he gave me every chance to be a warrior. No, he called it too early. Rarely do you hear a fighter say, I wish they called it sooner.
Dominic Cruz just said that was great job reffing and he gave him every chance to survive.
Yeah. And I know Blunderbutt. Yeah, I see that you're joking and stuff. And yeah, I just want to iron out that point. And it is a good point because to Beltran's credit, he probably did think he's in on this takedown. If I stop this right now, like, what if he gets this ankle pick? You know what I mean? Like, I understand that's probably what the thought process was. But I'm probably a little bit more feisty about this one because it's Drew Dober. You know what I mean?
Because he's the boy, dude. Yeah.
That's my guy.
I know, man. It was a tough one to watch. Still a big Drew Dober fan, though.
Did you see him after the fight?
No.
Where he's walking back to the back and waving to people, shaking people's hands, taking photos with people. And he was like, dude, win or lose, I always have time for the fans. And I'm just like, fuck, dude.
He's a real one, dude.
Such a real, and he even said, what did he say? He posted on Twitter too, and he's like, well, that sucked. He's like, that's what happens when you stand in front of a guy with a long, like 1-2 or something like that. And
Oh
like,
yeah.
He's cool, man. Like that stuff shouldn't happen to guys that cool. That's fucked up.
Yeah, agreed, man. All right. Enough sad talk about you, Dober. We will move on. We had Edgar Cháirez versus CJ Vergara.
Edgar's sick, bro. The walkout,
dead, bro. Come on.
The makeup for the face-off, the bandoliers for the walkout. I'm a huge fan of Edgar. And has he been in a boring fight, dude? This guy's a dog. Even when he loses, that Josh Van fight, remember that?
How long ago was that?
Right, that was at in the Sphere. Josh Van was piecing him up, and then he fucking hits him with that spinning back.
That was solid fight.
Rocks him. Oh solid my god, fight. Dude! He's so fun. This is one I texted. Shout out Coleslaw. He was texting me through the fights, and I was like, bro, CJ just keeps crossing his feet, and like 2 seconds later, he got fucking rocked because they're starting this. The common thread in this card for me was just a lot of guys not picking up on things, like the opposite of Erceg, like Bizarro Ercegs, just not picking up on things that they should be picking up on, and Vergara just crossing his feet every 5 seconds. I was like, dude, this guy's gonna get clipped. Cháirez is he is someone who is very fundamentally sound. I really like his form. If you watch just his silhouette when he strikes,
great boxing.
Great boxing. He doesn't really punch himself out of his feet. It's not like elusive footwork or anything like that, but just very like sturdy. You know, he has a great base for striking. And that he looks like a truck.
That left hook that he got Vergara with, like that stepping left hook, rocks him. And I was like, okay, he's like I was gonna say he's like a Mexican Nate Diaz, but Nate Diaz is Mexican too. But
everyone's calling the first evolution of Poetan.
Oh, like that's
someone called him Chamander, dude.
The Firetail.
Yeah.
And then after he rocks him, you know, like Vergara's kind of like wobbled a little bit. He kind of just looks at him and like lifts his hands up, like what, you know? And I was like, no, pressure him, dude. Like you got him hurt, pressure him. But he did a great job, man. Yeah, he pressured him, got him up against the cage, landed a couple shots, jumps on for the rear naked choke. And at this point, look, I'm never, ever going to say a fighter quit. Right. But on this one here.
No, it's fine. We've talked about this before. Fighters do quit. And it's fine.
Look, if I'm not willing to step in there.
I get it. Yeah.
And not even start, give it a try. I'm not going to say somebody went in there and quit. You know, but I don't know whether Vergara was still rocked a little bit on here. He was probably still trying to shake the cobwebs. You know, but Cháirez gets the rear naked choke in, and like with one hand, he's kind of like pulling on like 2 fingers, you know, and I was like, oh, that's not going to do it, bro. And he just slowly sinks the rear naked choke under his chin while Vergara's looking up to the heavens, and he just squeezed the life out of him there for him to tap. But
dude, again, look,
beautiful boxing from Cháirez.
Beautiful boxing. Great killer instinct to get the finish there. And to your point about the quitting thing, I'm not going to make a claim on specific fights. Specifically, I'm not going to say CJ quit here. But numerous fighters have talked about how fighters quit all the time, themselves included, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's if you're done, you're done. And that's it's fine. I'm fine with saying fighters quit because so many fighters talk about openly about quitting and that it happens all the time. And I don't necessarily see it as like a negative thing. If you got in there and you started it, I think you're allowed to quit. You know what I mean? That's fine. Look, my boy Shogun, he tapped the strikes. That's my fucking dog, dude.
What
you know what
pansy,
I mean?
Dude.
I would never. I have no issues with quitting or anything like that. I think that's part of it. It's technically anytime you get subbed, you're quitting. You know what I mean? If you really want to boil it down.
That's
if
why
you tap out, you're
dude.
technically quitting. That's why you got
to go out. Just go night, dude. Just go night. Break your arm. You know what I mean? Just let her go. All right. We'll go on to the next one, man. We had Raul Rosas Jr. versus Vince Morales.
I'm going to start this by saying something that you're probably not expecting.
Oh.
But Vince Morales, I'm a big fan, dude. I really, really like Vince Morales. I think he's so much better than his record shows. He fell to 16-10 here, and he's now lost 3 in a row. All 3 of his UFC fights he's lost. But, bro, I hope not, dude. He fought in the Contender Series. He's fought in Ryzen. He's fought in Bellator. He's fought in the UFC. This guy, dude, watching this guy specifically grapple, I'm such a big fan of this guy's grappling. If you watch his last fight against Elijah Smith, we spent 15 minutes talking about a prelim fight, more so than we probably talked about anything else on that card, specifically because one of their rounds was just takedown, transition, reversal, submission attempt, reversal.
And he saw a little bit of it
takedown
with Raul Rosas.
Exactly. I'm such a big Vince Morales fan because he's so good at creating scrambles and he's so tricky in there. He's trying to hit a Peruvian necktie in there.
Yeah, that was sick.
Almost gets it at one point, like
a couple times.
And it takes 2 to tango. Raul is his tenacity is bar none, right? Like he's such a energizer bunny with his wrestling.
Yeah.
I do want to see him add some lethality to it, if that makes sense. Add some damage, Yeah. Because he's really trying to out grapple guys, but there's not a lot of submission threat. There's not a lot of ground and pound threat or anything like that. In fact, the closest moments to finishing this fight were Morales. Off his back or setting up these chokes.
Very true. I will say this. I like Rosas' entries a lot more this fight. You can tell he's working on his striking. Right? He's willing to let his hands go. Every once in a while, he'll still try to force a takedown,
Mm-hmm.
But everybody that's going to fight Raul Rosas expects the threat of the takedown, the level change. But in this one, yes, he got clipped, but he's throwing some shots himself.
Yes.
And then got Morales on his back foot. Once he got Morales up against the cage, that's when he had a better entry and better takedown. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? That's some evolution.
Yes. No, definitely. That's true. And he's still young, right? Austin says, bro, it's insane to me how people overhype Rosas. Saved by the bell twice, and the best moments for it went to Morales. Compare Rosas' skill to Adrian Lee's and tell me who's the future of the sport. Hey, Adrian Lee's special. But yeah, I thought I'm not going to sit here and claim that I thought Morales should have won because of the submission threats or anything like that. But I thought the most significant moments of the fight were Morales. And I think he created some cool scrambles. And it does show how good Raul is as well about maintaining top control and getting these takedowns on a guy who I do rate pretty fucking highly, much better than his record shows, Morales. But it was a fun fight. I just want to see some more damage from Raul.
Agreed.
Chiwiwis.
There we go.
Yeah, we got to get one. But I really hope they don't cut Morales, dude. I really like the guy.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he sticks around for at least one more fight and see if he can pull off a win.
Yeah, and for anybody who's like, why is he trying to Peruvian neckties? That shit doesn't work anymore. He got one. That's how he got in the UFC. He landed a Peruvian necktie. That's literally how he got in the UFC. So like,
so
he was
chill.
Close, dude.
So chill.
Yeah, so chill. If you're gonna come at Vince Morales, fucking lose my number.
You're coming at me. All right, let's move on. We had David Martinez versus Saimon Oliveira.
Oh, David Martinez is someone to watch, though. This guy is fucking special. And look,
for sure,
this is another one where I texted Josh and I was like, "Bro, Saimon Oliveira." I don't remember what I said. I don't want to be disrespectful on the podcast, but but it was very clear to me that Martinez was going to get this one done after about 45 seconds. Just some of the returns, the offerings from Oliveira. I mean, look at this picture.
Yeah, it's kind of leaving himself very open, chin up in the air.
Martinez is tight.
Martinez, kick heavy approach. And then the thing that surprised me, though, is that even with the kick heavy approach, you could tell that it was painful, right? He would feint, and there was zero reaction from Oliveira off the feints.
That's the thing, like, dude, like, that was the biggest thing. It was just, and like I said, the negative Erceg. It's just the not, like, recognizing what's happening in there, dude, and just continuing to throw underwater spinning back fists. You know what I mean?
That was
like
rough.
Ben Askren spinning back fists. But
hey, dude.
But I want to focus on the positive. Martinez, very great combinations, like selection, like the way his strikes lead into other strikes was very impressive. This is UFC debut, right?
Was it?
Was it not? Yeah, because he won the Only Contender Series. This was his UFC debut. He hasn't lost in 4 years.
We had a few debuts yesterday.
We did. That's what happens these days. It's all part of the keep the payroll low. We don't make anything on pay-per-view, so keep the payroll low, and that's how we maximize our profits. So lots of debuting guys. But really cool sequence from Martinez to hurt him bad on the feet as he's fading away, grabs him with the double collar tie, knees him in the head as he goes down, and then finishes him off with some ground and pound. That's someone to watch. Also, watch his sister. His sister's very good too, and she'll probably be in the UFC.
What are they saying, 8-1?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. I'm sure she's going to get the call, dude. These guys, I think both of them are probably going to be some action fighters that the UFC can get on the roster.
Nice. All right. Now let's move on. We had Kevin Borjas versus Ronaldo Rodríguez. Lazy boy.
Look, Borjas, I think everybody was picking him to lose. I don't know what the odds. What were the odds going into this? I would imagine everybody was picking your boy, Lazy Boy, right? Who knows? I don't have him up, so I'm not going to spend time pulling him up. But man, Rodríguez just, maybe he just in on the hype on himself, maybe a little too much. In the first round, he's just trying to force wheel kicks and shit like that, and just these crazy big things. Meanwhile, Borjas is just like, I'll stick to the trusty two and just crack you as you come in with this straight right over and over. It was like the Moreno fight. It's just that straight right hand just couldn't miss, dude.
Lazy boy minus 154, Oliveira plus 130.
Wait, what? Oliveira?
Yeah, Oliveira plus 130.
Which one's Oliveira?
Oh, I'm sorry, Borjas.
Oh, okay. I was like, is that a nickname? But yeah, Borjas cracks him with the right hand, drops him. And Rich, we have a couple pictures here for the sequence. This is Rodríguez going down and then just using that momentum to just do a back handspring and
then
jump
calls
up
for
and
more.
Say, "What's up, dude? You thought you hit me?" And you're like, "Wait, what?" He completely cracked him. Look at the shot that started this. Can we go back, Rich? It's not like it was a glancing shot, dude. It's fucking gnarly. And yeah, he just rolled backwards, launched himself up, and then called for more. Unfortunately,
one of the most interesting sequence you'll ever see.
I've never seen anything like it. But then from the rest of the fight, it was just Borjas just circling. Lazy boy would just jump in, throwing these big punches, and he'd just pull counter, just literally slip and throw that two down the middle, cracked him over and over and over again. And this time, I was like, Lazy boy. For him, Borjas can commit to that counter because and be on a hair trigger. He's ready to throw that right hand, right? As soon as Lazy boy opens up, he's throwing that two down the middle. It's beating the punch. If we go to the next picture, Rich, I think is him pulling, and let's see one more. I think maybe. Okay, look at the left hand from Lazy boy.
Yeah,
like most of the right hands that land, his left hand is either down or it's starting to come up with a left hook. And it's because as soon as he would show an opening, Borjas was ready to pull that trigger. And when that's the case, that's only happening because Lazy boy is committing over and over and over to actually throw that punch. If he just feinted one time, he'd be able to pull the right straight out of Borjas because Borjas knows to go as soon as he sees the movement.
Yeah.
And if he feints, he'll go because he hasn't had to react that way. So he's going to throw that too. And now you can counter him. Just draw that out because you're not feinting. He knows he can go every single time. And I was waiting for that like next level to this fight, and it never happened. The rest of the fight was just Borjas circling and throwing that right hand down the middle because he didn't need anything else. Lazy boy never presented him with anything else.
Yeah. Too reckless on the entries. Borjas with a solid jab, and he just jabbed his face off in the third round.
Yeah.
But entertaining fight.
Yeah, definitely a fun fight to watch. It's just, frustrating to see Lazy boy not do something else. It was like the definition of insanity, right? When you're like doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. It's like, dude, you're jumping with this left hook. The straight is beating you to the punch over and over and over again. You got to do something different, man.
Not my guy, Lazy Boy, dude. He's
Yeah.
good.
Also, he missed weight for this fight. Did he not? I think.
Yeah, he was a pound over.
Yeah, not cool.
A lot of weight. Yeah, not
cool.
Cool. All right, we will move on, man. We had Medina versus Gautier.
Which one was this? Yeah, this is another one, dude. I think this is the next slideshow, Rich.
We split it up into 2 pieces.
Yeah, it's too long. This only lets us do 50 or something. So slides. Medina is a dog. He's always been a dog. Every time he fights, he gets hit hard and he wants more. He got his UFC debut off a loss on the Contender Series. He's now lost 3 in a row. And in this one, Gautier could not miss, and he was hitting him hard every time he threw a punch, and every time he would land it clean, Medina would say, "Oh yeah, I love these dog fights. Let's bring it. Let's go." And then just get hit again and say, "Oh, you got me that time," and then just get hit again. It's like, but have you seen what's that guy? He's an Australian comedian. I can't think of his name now. He's got a great joke about he's like, "Yeah, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me 3 times, shame on me again.
No,
fool me 3 times a fool." He's like, "Fool me 4 times. Now you're just taking advantage of a fool." Like,
that's hilarious.
That's basically what this fight was. That's all I could think about was Medina calling for more of a dog fight, and then it's like, "Hey man, you're the only one in the dog fight. You're not. You gotta." Gautier was just landing everything and knocked him out.
Yeah. Solid fight, man. Not much to cover about that one. You already covered everything there. Let's see. We
great
also
knee,
had
though. Great knockout for Gautier. That's a great highlight reel knockout to have.
Yes. We had Rodríguez versus Costa.
D-Rod is sick, huh? I like this guy a lot, despite losing this fight.
Yeah, pretty solid, man. Dude, for me, a lot of the action just came in that 3rd round, right? Like,
yeah.
A lot of clinch work that first round.
The foot sweep.
Yeah, that worked. How many times that foot sweep worked?
Too many, dude. Way too many.
Jeez, over and over again, and they were just like trading positions, dominant positions up against the fence.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a few moments leading up to the 3rd round, but man, in the 3rd round, they both just turned it on and started trading shots.
Cool. Really cool. And just a great even match. Even the first 2 rounds, while they weren't very exciting, they were both pummeling very well, both trading positions up against the fence, like very even, right? And then that 3rd round, they just fucking.
How slick is Costa off his back, though, man?
Yeah,
like,
he's fun, dude. He's fun.
Where we had Rodríguez ends up in mount. And he's like, "Cool, dude." Like, he throws like one shot. And then after he throws the shot, Costa just pushes up, shrimps out, slips out the side, and climbs up to the side and gets him like. Now, Rodríguez is like turtle position. Costa has his arm around him. Like, dude, that was so fast, so slick, so smooth. So, dude, I really enjoy watching Costa. Plus, like, I see him, I'm like, something about him just is like artistic. You know what I mean? Like, he just has like nice little like splatters of paint on him, and like he's just beautiful specimen, dude. I love watching him fight.
Yeah, well, C-Rod, I like C-Rod. He's like the prospect killer, right? Every time they give him an undefeated fighter, he beats them. Who do we have? We got Raul Rosas. He beat Cameron Saimon. He beat Bashi. He beat. He just keeps beating these prospects, and then they give him like Julian Rosa, and then he gets subbed, and you're like, wait, what? Like, no disrespect to Rosa. I know his mom follows us, but I really like Rosa. But it's like you think you know this guy, and then he pulls off a loss like that. Blunder says, "Oh, I got to shout out the Mexican crowd booing the camera on Cejudo and cheering when they cut to Pereira." Yeah, that's good.
That is pretty good. And Austin saying he's a big fan of Rodríguez. So is Evie.
He just got a lot of tricks.
Give him strikers. Like, I know he can grapple too, but dude, I love watching him strike. That's like the most exciting parts for me of Rodríguez's fights.
Well, what's funny is like the Raul Rosas and the Bashi fight. Those are 2 heavy grapplers that they gave him, and then he just fucking turns it on them. And you're like, well, he can defend this grappling from these like grappling phenoms, but then you get a fight like Cameron Saimon, and you're like, oh, this is very good. Yeah, Austin, he performs so well against prospects, but then he faces these average dude and just falters. Very Rose Namajunas-esque. But, the thing about C-Rod, the bummer is he's missed weight 3 times at bantamweight, and then he goes up to featherweight.
Mm.
And I don't know if maybe it's a size issue where he struggles on something. But I thought, that this was a fun fight. It's not like he was outgunned in this one, it seemed like size-wise. So maybe not. But I like both these guys, actually. Costa and Rodríguez. They're in fun fights. And this was a cool fight.
All right. We also had Lupita Godinez versus Julia Polastri.
Yeah. Lupi, she opens up with a sick-ass powerbomb. How cool was that? Polastri just threw, like, this weird kick. That was like a...
Yeah. She catches it and then just picks her up and slams her. Also, DC, he's like, man, that was like the Undertaker. He was like, that's like the Undertaker. Powerbomb. The Undertaker had a pile driver. Okay, he did not powerbomb people.
Damn.
So I was a little disappointed when he said that, but it's okay.
Yeah.
We move on, dude. We move on.
Yeah. Oh, Genevieve does say, yeah, remember they are at high altitude. Mexico City is no joke. Oh, and shout out Ghost. Thanks for joining Ghost. Check out Ghost's channel. He's doing some cool analytical podcasts now. So check out his channel on YouTube if you want to learn the minute details, like the little details. He's great at it.
Ghost saying Lupe versus Polastri was not good. And look, Ghost, I will tell you, because your boy can't catch all the fights live all the time. Got baseball tournaments, got my daughter's gymnastics, cheer track. Like, we got a lot of stuff going on. So I'll hit up my boy Will and be like, Will, what fights do I have to watch? I want to make sure that I watch. I want to say I was 13 minutes into this fight, and I thought to myself, what is Will trying to do to me right now?
Look, dude,
what is going on? Why am I watching this fight?
We got to talk about the corner work, dude. That's the only reason I put this on here. It's the only reason I put this. Well, the power bomb.
The power bomb
was fun.
Sloppy. It turned into a sloppy banger in the third.
Polastri in the third round realized that Godinez is not a threat whatsoever. Realized it too late and just walked at her with her hands down and started trading with her.
Like a little
but
Brazilian
in between the second and third
dude.
round, the best part of the fight was Lupi telling her corner that she needs to poop. And they said, hey, you got 5 more minutes. Just fucking don't shit yourself.
Shit your pants. Shit your pants to get back in there. That's what they're telling you. Get back in.
But yeah, that's kind of it, to be honest.
All right. We will move on. The last fight we're going to be covering.
The old poopy Godinez, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, dang, dude. Instead of loopy, poopy?
Yeah.
Terrible. That's messed up.
I don't really like this one. Look, every card needs a sloppy banger. That third round was a sloppy banger. Got the crowd going, got the energy high. I thought the power bomb in the first round was pretty fucking cool. The poop thing it's a fight worth talking about.
All right, we'll go Emmers versus Miranda. That's going to be the last fight we're covering from this card.
Yes, Emmers is slick, dude. Emmers is super slick. This guy is long. He knows how to use that range. Miranda. Didn't expect it, I guess. I don't know. He kind of was just there for it. But Emmers, slick, dude.
I don't know how slick he is and how much it had to do with his opponent.
Well, that's kind of the story of this card.
Just wide shots coming in, dude. Just charging forward, and Miranda's like, "Okay, let me keep this chin up real quick and eat some of those shots."
And that's kind of what this card was, if we're being real. Like the Edgar Cháirez fight was kind of that. Martinez versus Oliveira was that. Borjas versus Lazy Boy was that. Gautier versus Medina was also that. There was a lot of like mismatches on this card. Jenny says, "I hate that mustache. I hate it so much." Ghost says, "You guys know why this fight was funny, right? Which one are you talking about? Are you talking about this one now, or are you talking about Lupi? Let us know." But yes, just good finishing instinct from Emmers. He hits hard. You can tell he hits hard. Cool little like left uppercut to knock him down around the fence and like come off the fence and then finish him off with some strikes. Very cool.
There we go.
Bruce Buffer suffering from altitude sickness by announcing the wrong name. I did not watch this card outside of the fights itself. I didn't really hear the commentary a lot, and I didn't see the in-between, but that's fucking hilarious because Bruce rarely misses.
Not gonna lie, dude. I turned the commentary down for about 80% of these fights.
Yeah,
it is what it is. All right.
That is
Eddie saying he
hilarious.
can't pull off the Tom Selleck. He needs to stop trying to. Yeah.
Oh,
I
but you
got
know who
you.
can? Vince Pichel. We didn't cover his fight, but he's got a great mustache.
From Hell Pichel. All right. Well, hey, that was going to be the last fight. That is the last fight we're covering. Moment of silence. Well, what fights did we lose? Looks like we lost a lot.
What fights did we lose? We lost a lot of fights on this card. Maybe this card would have been better if we had some more fights on it. Yes, Zellhuber was supposed to fight Elvis Brenner. That would have been fucking awesome. And then Brenner withdrew, so they gave him Austin Hubbard. And then Zellhuber fell through or pulled out. Rafa was supposed to fight Joaquim Silva. That would have been fun. Moreno versus Erceg apparently fizzled, and then they got it back. And then Yair versus Diego Lopez was never actually agreed upon, as far as I know. Yasmin Huaragui was supposed to fight Polastri first, and Barbosa. So 2 fights on this card where an opponent pulled out, and the first fighter A versus fighter B. Fighter B pulls out. They replace fighter B, and then fighter A is like, actually, I like that first matchup more. I'm going to pull out too. But then the big one, Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer, was the co-main event. Joe Pyfer pulled out morning of the fight because his weak little belly couldn't handle some tacos.
Terrible.
Kelvin Gastelum makes weight, and then you pull out? Come on, dude. Kelvin Gastelum had to fight for his life.
You know how many tacos Gastelum ate while he made weight?
He had the fight of his life trying to make weight, and he did it. And then you're going to go ahead and disrespect him because he couldn't handle some tacos?
Dang.
Come on.
Terrible.
Joe Pyfer, lose my number. What a bitch. And then bonuses.
Yeah, who got the monies?
Bonuses? Manuel Torres got the monies for knocking out my boy. Aw. Damn. Edgar Cháirez got one for knocking out Vergara.
Well deserved.
Nice, Martinez got one.
I did turn it up for the post-fight speech, man. At first, I thought it was crocodile tears, but
real tears.
It was real tears. Once he zoomed in on him, I was like, okay, your boy has real tears over there.
I saw the tears. Yeah, his grandfather sold his truck so that he could have surgery.
Yeah, dude.
And then he passed. His grandfather passed.
Yeah.
Also, UFC, great fucking job by having these guys so poor that their grandparents have to sell their assets to provide surgery.
Jeez.
Get fucked, dude. This guy's fighting on the main card. Get fucked.
Rough, dude.
Hate that shit. And then Gautier got one for knocking out a punching bag. It is hard to knock out a punching bag, so good job for Gautier.
And he did it.
That was it. Austin says, face it like a man and shit in the ring for culture.
Yeah, Lupe did it.
Lupe tried, dude.
Godinez, yeah, she almost tried.
Joe Piper's just not built like that, dude. What can I say?
All right, let's see. Next week we have UFC Fight Night. Emmett versus Murphy.
Shout out Ryzen. Ryzen had Ryzen 50th. The 50th Ryzen last night was free on Ryzen.tv if you want to check that out. Very cool shit. This card just ended, and then Costa texted me. He was like, "Hey, what else is going on? Are there any more fights? What do you got?" And I was like, "Bro, Ryzen prelims start in 30 minutes on YouTube. Then it's gonna kick to the main card. It's gonna be free on their website. Sign up. Ryzen's sick. Shout out Saikakibara." And it was.
You're like, Vale Tudo in Brazil is about to start, dude. Fuck it. Make sure you tune in. Then after that, my God.
Next week we got One Fight Night 30 and UFC Apex fucking $1 million. The boy Lyndon Knowles getting his one debut title fight against Roman Kriklia. Goddamn. Our boy Regian Ursel is back against Alexis Nicholas for the rematch for the trilogy. That's going to be fucking awesome. Sidachai, our boy Sidachai is back. Nico Carrillo going up in weight after getting knocked out by Nabil's fighting Sidachai. We got Sexton is back against Asatan Pao. Very good. Bokang's back against Zakirov's. Zakirov's probably going to get a title shot if he wins that fight. George Jarvis is back. Tong Poon is back. It's a good card.
Let's go. The Cholo, dude. Tong Poon.
Yeah. And then the UFC's got Josh Emmett versus Lerone Murphy, which I really, really like. Joanderson Brito's on here. Cortavius Romanus versus Chong Ho Lee is very good. Brad Tavares versus Mearshart should actually be very fun. Davey Grant is back against Daniel Santos. That's a banger. Holy shit. That's Loma Lukunde is back as well against good fights next weekend.
Awesome.
Ghost is saying Ursula is back. Can you guys post the full card? Let me see. I should be able to get you right now, Ghost.
Well, shout out while you're doing that to Ghost, Austin, Evie. Who else do we have? We had Blunderbub join us as well. And then there was also somebody that joined us. Oh, Leo Cooper MMA. Shout out to everybody that joined us. Made it a lot of fun talking. Oh, and Brian. Can't forget Brian.
Hey, shout out Brian, the boy.
The boy. Yeah. But thanks, everybody. Made this episode a lot of fun. Thank you for talking UFC Mexico City with us, UFC Fight Night Mexico City with us. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that fun stuff. Will posted the entire card there for one fight night. So there it is.
Good. Very good.
Very good. But if they don't like watching on YouTube, Will, other options, right?
Yeah, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Podcasts. If you want just audio, really anywhere podcasts are found, we're on there. But we suggest watching on YouTube specifically. We also live stream on Twitch, but on YouTube is kind of where we interact with the most. But then, yeah, you get to look at our faces. And when we pull up stuff like this to see this whole card, you can see it. So watching is definitely encouraged. And then, yeah, on social media, it's just at Story the Fight on everything. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit. Story the Fight is the user. There I go. Well, I don't know what just happened.
I have no idea.
But we're back. But yeah, storythefight.com will list all of our socials. Click through and follow them. Next week is going to be a fun episode. Good UFC fights, good one fights. Should be some good stuff to talk about.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. And in case you're wondering, I was going to say how this episode ran so smoothly, but that was right before we shut down. But we got our producer in the background, Richard Boo. So shout out, Rich. And shout out to everybody. Thank you for joining us for another week of Story of the Fight.